Hi, I'm Bree, and this is Concepts for Thinking. Today we're going to be talking about the concept of projection and why it's important to understand that when projection is happening and what you can do to become a better thinker and avoid making the errors that come from projection. So projection is a concept that's first defined within psychoanalysis and psychology. And basically it means when you project your internal states onto others in interpreting their behavior. And usually in psychology, this is interpreted in, they're talking about negative forms of projection. Although there are some forms that seem to be neutral or benign. So most commonly, when people talk about projection, they're talking about one's own negative feelings that we either project onto others, or we try to, like if we have a weakness, we might reject that quality in others or bully others. Victim blaming is a negative form of projection where one's own weaknesses are projected onto a victim and then the victim is blamed. So bullying and victim blaming come from projecting negative self-qualities. We can also exaggerate and project positive qualities that we possess, and that's called idealizing or idealization. This is also problematic. You see this with cult-like behavior where a group of people will attribute just insane good qualities to their leader and basically be willing to do anything for this person. So, positive forms of projection can be just as bad as negative forms. And then there's also well-documented neutral, ambiguous forms of projection. There's something called the false consensus effect. This is the fact that most people generally assume that others are more like themselves than others really are. And this can be problematic. I think there's some conversation about whether it's good or bad. I think the main danger might be like if we're kind of caught in our own bubbles or echo chambers and we think everyone thinks like us, we're more willing to sort of go along with ideas that are just not great. We're less likely to question beliefs if we think everyone is sort of on the same page. So projection can be projection of negative, positive, or neutral qualities. So if in general projection is this very problematic thing, why do we do it? Why is this very common feature of human psychology that we're constantly projecting? Because it's well established that we're constantly projecting. So my answer to this is that the beginning place of projection is a sort of necessary starting point for understanding and empathizing with others. So if you think about it, there's really no way for me to know what another person is experiencing except by reference to my own experience in some sense. That does not mean that I need to stop with my own experience and go, everyone is exactly like me. That's the problem with projection. With projection, you stop. You don't get curious and learn about the other person. You just sort of assume that whatever you're feeling somehow reflects the reality of other people. So the starting place of projection, not what's called projection, but that starting place of referring to one's own feelings and one's own experience is not a bad thing. The key is to avoid it becoming a problematic form of projection. Stay curious, accept the fact that others are different, and learn about them. Try to start from your own experience, but put yourself in their shoes. Think about, observe others, think about what they're actually going through and what they're actually dealing with, and be cognizant of the fact that people really are different. It's true that we share a lot in common, and that's why we can start to understand others by reflecting on our own experience, but that is not the ending point. We need to remain humble and curious and interested in other people. So I hope this video was helpful for you. Again, this is Concepts for Thinking, and that is my video on projection. Check the show notes for all my videos. In the notes or in the video description, I have a little essay on the topic. So read that for a more detailed account. Take care.